When I was a little girl, I liked to play with boys. One day, I was playing with my friends in front of my neighbor's shop. We made some jokes and laughed. One of my friends noticed that there was no shopkeeper in the shop. Suddenly, they dared me to steal some candies from the shop. I took the challenge. I grabbed some candies from a candy jar. Unfortunately, one of my friends shouted at me. His voice startled me, and I ran spontaneously. While I was running, my brain worked hard to find the best place for hiding. Finally, I found a pile of bricks in my backyard, and I hid behind the pile. It wasn't my lucky day, because when I was hiding, I didn't realize that my father had found me. Then my father said to me, if I had money, I had to pay for the candies. But if I didn't, I had to bring the candies back and apologize to the shopkeeper. Since that day, I never want to come back to the shop because I feel embarrassed to the shopkeeper.
When I was 7 years old, I was playing football with my friend in the pitch next to my elementary school building. It was my routine activity every afternoon. I didn't realize why, but the other boys took a dislike suddenly to me and threw the ball at my face, and it hit my nose hard. My first feeling was, oh, that hurts. Then really quickly, blood coming out from my nose. I went home to my parents and crying and told them what was happening with my nose. My mother ran to the backyard and took some betel leaves and immediately inserted them into my nose to stop the bleeding. Obviously, my friend didn't feel guilty about throwing the ball at my nose, and they didn't come to my house anymore.
When I was 8 years old, I was playing soccer with my friends at school year. It was at 6 p.m. and getting dark, and my father was looking for me, and after that I saw him and I ran away from that place. I ran to my friend's house because I think that my friend's house is the safe place, and I stayed there until 8 p.m. At 8 p.m. someone was knocking the door, and I thought that it was my father. Unfortunately, it was my mom. She intended to pick up me. Then we went home. After we arrived at home, my father was standing at front of the door and holding a package. I couldn't recognize what package that he was holding. Then he called me, Freddy, could you come closer to me? And I came, and my father embraced me and gave that package to me. He said, could you open this package now? And after that, I opened that package. Surprisingly, it was a new t-shirt that he bought. Then after that, he whispered in my ears that you had to be at home before 6. And after that, my father, I was happy and I was laughing. And he said, why brought do you know why I brought the cane? And I replied that, no, I don't know, I don't recognize that cane. And he said, I brought the cane for gathering the animals. And then I was laughing at the time.
When I was 7 years old, I was racing with my friends after returning from school in the field near from my school. My friends had bicycles, that's why we race every day, especially on Saturday. One day, we organized a bicycle race event in a school, and all of my friends followed this event. We spent a lot of time at the race event, I was racing ambitiously and energetically, and when I was racing at the last lap in the field, my friend hit me, and we fell together on the school railing, and my bicycle hit the school railing. Surprising, I know that my handbar of my bicycle broke. The handbars and the body of my bicycle spared it. And I told him that you should repair it, but he realized that he didn't have money to repair it because it was expensive. So what should I do? I was thinking that my parents would be angry about it, and finally I went home in the evening, and I lied to my parents that my bicycle was stolen. After that, the next 2 days, my friends told me that he repaired my bicycle at workshop. Finally, I would be never race again because it was expensive when my bicycle broke. Thank you.
When I was 8 years old, I was playing with friends on the bank of the river near my home. We were playing hide and seek. Then all of my friends started to swim in the river, and I sat on a stone. While they were swimming, I watched them from the large stone. They called me to swim, but because I can't swim, I didn't swim. Suddenly, one of my friends got out from the river and asked me to pick mangoes. We were walking along on the bank of the river to reach the trees. Then she pushed me into the deep river. I fell into the river, and I tried to save myself. But I sank into the water, and one of my friends came and helped me out from the river. Since that time, I never want to play with them anymore.
Well, I'm going to tell you a terrible story. When I was about 7 years old, one day, my little brother was playing with his friends. They were looking for a rubber toy inside a garbage bin, so they threw out the rubbish from the garbage bin and they went away. Unfortunately, there were shards of glass inside the garbage bin. When I was playing near to the garbage bin, I incidentally stepped on the shirts, and suddenly the soles of my foot hurt. A few seconds after, I felt pain, and I saw my foot was bleeding. I cried and screamed for my mom. She came and tried to calm me down. She put a medicine on it to stop the bleeding, but it didn't work. So she decided to take me to the hospital. In the hospital, my mom and a nurse injected anesthetic and sewed the wound. I didn't remember what happened next, but when I woke up, I saw my foot was bandaged. For almost 2 weeks, I couldn't play with my friends. Since then, I always wear sandals wherever I go because I'm afraid of stepping on the floor or on the ground with bare feet. Thank you.
When I was at junior high school, I was chatting with my friends in our class. It was a class break, and I don't know why, but my friends were bothering me by putting a small cat in my desk door. I'm philanophobic, which means I'm afraid of cats, and my friends knew it definitely because we spent a lot of time together. Once one of my friends asked me to take a book from that shelf, I put my hands into that place, and suddenly the cat was mewing, and I was shocked and moved out from my chair. I was crying at that time, and I didn't want to enter the class at that day. As my teacher was coming, I couldn't stop my weeping. She was angry with my friend's attitudes, but it couldn't stop my weeping. And then she realized that I experienced a trauma, and she quickly called my uncle to pick me up from that school. Furthermore, when the night was coming, I couldn't sleep well, and I had a fever because this incident. I know clearly that most people like cats, but I do not.
When I was a teenager, I was bitten by a dog. It was a sunny day, and I was on my way home from school. I was wearing a school uniform and shoes. I was walking through the streets near my home while carrying a bag. I didn't realize there was a dog walking behind me. Suddenly, I feel pain on my right leg, and I found out that the dog had bitten me. I shouted to the dog, and he barked at me. While suffering from pain, I threw some stones to frighten him, and soon he ran away from me. I walked slowly to my home, crying all the way, but there was no one on the street to help me. I found my mother in the living room, and she was surprised to see me crying. Then she gently cleaned the wound and dressed it. She took me to the hospital, where a doctor gave me an anti-tetanus toxin and anti-inflammation injection. It took 5 days to recover from the wound, but I become more careful now. When I meet a dog which is calm and silent, it is better for me if the dog barks at me, so I know that the dog doesn't like me.
Okay, I like to tell you a story about my childhood. When I was 6 years old, I stole mango from my neighbor's mango trees. At that time, it was the beginning of mango season, and there was a lot of ripe mango fruit from my neighbor's trees. Me and my friend really wanted to eat them because it is really delicious. And me and my friend wanted to eat the mango, and we had planned to took some of mango fruit. We took 3 mango fruit and we eat them at the safe place. At that time, we didn't realize that somebody know what we have done. After we After I came to my house and we had dinner with my parents became angry because somebody snitched about of my activity. At that time, when I asked about who snitched us, my father became more angry. A day later, when I met my friend, his father also met with him. Until now, when we meet and talk about the story, we just laugh and the person who snitched us remain unknown. Thank you very much.
When I was 8, I and my friend were playing at the river near our house. Once we arrived there, we found a big rock on its bank. I thought that it was an ideal place to start the bungee jumping because it's surrounded by water and also has a good depth. We thought it was the best place so we can jump safely. Then the trouble came. I was jumping into the water when my forehead hit something at the bottom of the river. It can be a stone that we never known before. I was bleeding suddenly, and all my friends only stared at me without doing anything. I knew I had to go back home to get the medical treatment, but I was afraid about my parents. They must be angry. Then I went home and still trying to stop the bleeding at my forehead with my t-shirt. I saw them. They were sitting on the terrace and they saw me with my bloody face. They tried to stop the bleeding and also jabbered me because my naughtiness. Because they failed to stop the bleeding, then they took me to the community health center nearest our house. At that place, I got 7 stitches on my forehead. Today, you still can see the scars. Look.
Ooh.
Thank you.
When I was 12 years old, I was playing football with my friends in football pitch near my house. I don't know why, but my friends took a dislike to me. Suddenly, one of my friends came from behind and tackled my right leg. Spontaneously, I hit him also, but my friend prevented me from fighting. My right leg was bleeding, and after that, I ran while crying and met my mother at my home as soon as possible. When my mother saw me, she was really surprised and said, "What's going on, my lovely son?" And I just said, "Somebody tackled my right leg at football pitch." And then she said, "Okay, we are going to meet a physician right now." I was given betadine, and my right leg was bandaged. After this incident, my mother forbade me from playing football again.
Well, I'm going to tell you about my childhood story. It began when I was 4 years old. I was playing hide and seek with my friends surrounding my neighbor home. I'm not sure why, but when I passed a dog behind the dog, suddenly I was bitten by the dog at my right hand. I ran home to my mother, crying all the way, and my hand was bleeding all over my dress. My mother was shocked. Luckily, my father was there. He said to my uncle to find the first aid kit to stop the bleeding due to the long distance of the hospital. My first feeling was pain and terror when I saw the wound. It was swelling. After that, my father took me to the hospital. I was given by an injection and some medicines. Obviously, I have to be careful now. I always leave a place as soon as when I see a scary dog. You can see a scar at my right hand now.
When I was about 12 years old, I was playing football with friends one day in a field near home. I was playing in a striker position. We were playing really serious because the winner may get some money from the loser. In the beginning of the game, we didn't play rough, but after my team scored, the situation became serious. Both teams were really rough, didn't want to yield. After the first half ended, my team led 1-0. Entering the second half, the opponents always had many chances to score, but luck was not on their side. In the remaining 10 minutes of game time, an opponent player took a ball to the area of 16 meters. He ran very fast. When dealing with me, he got past me. And then I ran after him and tackled him from behind. And then he landed hard. He groaned in pain, and I saw a visible injury in his leg and his hands. Suddenly, he stood up and chased after me angrily. And then I decided to leave the game and run home immediately. I ran very fast and left him with a considerable distance. After this incident, I didn't go to school for one day because I was afraid meeting him.